Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you have been living under a rock for the past 2 weeks, then you've got to come out from under that rock. So in the last two, maybe 3 weeks, we've had the World Classical Chess Championship match. So every so often, you have to compete in a tournament to get to this match, and then you face the reigning, defending, classical world champion, okay? So in this instance, we have Gukesh from India and Ding Ren from China competing in 14 games to decide who the world number one is for classical chess right now. Now, throughout these 14 games, many people have had their own opinions of how boring it's been. Both players seem to be playing for a draw, but we had drama until the very last game, people. So yesterday, game 14 was played. The scores were tied. So if we got another draw, then we get two more games to decide who the world champion was going to be. Unless there was a decisive result in round 14. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be reviewing the game, analysing it as best we can. But I've got to be honest with you, if you want an in-depth analysis, right, you want to find out all the nuances and intricacies behind every little move, this is not the channel for you, okay? You're going to have to go watch Hikaru or some other super GM to explain why all these tiny moves are so powerful, okay? I'm just going to be looking at the analysis and trying to learn whatever I can. That's what we do on this channel. We just try and learn and get better and laugh at ourselves. So let's get right into it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have Ding Ren, the reigning defending chess world champion, with the white pieces, and Gukesh, the 18-year-old challenger, with the black pieces, looking for the upset. So, the first move in which we get is knight f3. Then we get Gukesh returning, just playing in the middle of the board, always good to do if you're new to chess or a beginner. If your opponent doesn't initially play a pawn in the middle, it's probably best that you put a pawn in the middle. Try and take as much space as you can. And then Ding pushes his g-pawn, looking to fianchetto this bishop, the light square bishop, to which Gukesh takes even more of the centre and plays pawn to c5. So he's occupying a lot of space here in the middle. While Ding is opting to develop some pieces as opposed to pushing pawns in the middle. Then Ding does fianchetto this bishop. Always a good thing to do, really. Your bishop now controls so many squares. When this knight eventually looks to push forwards, it would just be attacking so many squares on the board. So always good to have a fianchettoed bishop. Gukesh plays knight c6. Then we get d4, e6, and short castles by Ding. Gukesh then takes in the middle. Also, just to note, these are still book moves. This is still all theory. This is still just an opening, and we're only on move 5, to be fair. I thought it had been more, but honestly, I know about 2 moves of every opening. I don't get many book moves after that point, okay? I'm normally blundering by then, so this is incredible to me. This is another book move, wow. So just knight taking the pawn, offering a knight trade, to which Gukesh doesn't take and plays the first inaccuracy of the game. I think in this position, what was best? Bishop to c5. Wow, so coming down here and having another attacker of the knight, I guess, and also just staring down this pawn. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. I guess we can kind of follow along so far. But yep, Gukesh, plays knight g to e7. I'm not gonna judge him. I wouldn't have done any different. Ding plays a real gangster move here. c4, just saying sort of, look, I know you've got pawns in the middle. I literally don't care. I'm just going to throw a pawn at them. To which Gukesh plays a great move, apparently. Don't know why it's a great move. Why is it a great move? I don't know. But trades off the knights. So obviously Ding has to take back. So if you don't take back that knight, you're down a knight in the World Chess Championship finale. Why would you do that? Gukesh, another great move, develops his knight. Right, I could probably explain this actually. So he develops his knight over to the c6 square. This frees up the bishop, because obviously before that, you're blocking your bishop in. You never want to block your bishop in. So he plays here, he frees his bishop up while also attacking the queen. So now Gukesh is going to gain something that's called a tempo. So Ding is going to have to run his queen away. So, because you obviously don't want to lose your queen. So he's going to hide his queen away. He might go back to d1 or d3. And then Gukesh is going to have basically what is called a free move, because Ding has hidden his queen away, so he doesn't get to develop on this move. So as opposed to playing like a knight c3 or getting your bishop out, Ding has to now run away. So Ding opts for d1. Okay, I think, yeah, the engine prefers d3 in this position. I'm not sure why, to be honest. Not even going to pretend to try. And Gukesh puts his pawn further in the middle. Can only be a good thing if you ask me, having a pawn this high up in the middle. Ding then attacks this pawn, and Gukesh puts another defender for the pawn. So if you don't have to move a piece in the middle, why move it, basically? It does so much in the middle of the board, it occupies so much space. If you can then add another defender to it, that's always a good thing. So if you see, he's got the bishop, the knight, and the queen all defending this one pawn. So it's going to cause headaches for Ding if he can't deal with it. But on the next move, he obviously trades it off because it's just too powerful. Gukesh then takes back with a bishop, so attacking here and here. We've discovered attacks on the queen. And Ding, just very regimented, very disciplined, knight c3, develops another piece. We get short castles by Gukesh, and Ding is going mental, okay? He's just sort of saying, I don't really know what to do. I'm just going to start throwing my knight around. This is what I do in, you know, those like 1 minute time control games when you're down like 15 seconds and you just need to move pieces because you're getting panicky. This looks like the sort of thing I'd do. It's probably a really in-depth move that does so many amazing things for him, but we'll never know, will we? Ignorance is bliss, people. And then this seems to be a mistake. Why is bishop back a mistake? After this inaccurate move, white achieves a clear advantage. That's all it says. Okay, I guess it says c5 is a better retreat square. So if bishop c5 was played, they still want e5 though, don't they? I guess just reinforce it in the middle. But if I'm looking at this position, and Ding can then trade off a knight for a bishop, I guess you then get the knight in the middle. Oh wait, they want to take with the pawn though. Wow, okay. See, I thought that would be good because you can then have a knight in the middle, and a knight in the middle is amazing. Look how many squares a knight in the middle can control. I'll just draw all the arrows, but just look at that. That's all the squares this knight now occupies if it's in the middle. So that's probably what I'd have played, but yeah, they want this. But nonetheless, we don't get that position anyway because Gukesh brings his bishop back to b6. I guess he didn't like the idea of trading him off. You've got to understand as well, the players can't see this eval bar. So they don't know who's winning, if it's a draw in the position. And they also can't see this analysis of all these different lines they can play to achieve the best possible result. They literally have to calculate every single position. I'd have a seizure at the board. I wouldn't be able to do that. But this is an inaccuracy. b3. They don't like that. I thought this looks like quite a good move because you're looking at later developing your dark squared bishop onto this diagonal, which creates so many headaches for the black king. You know, with attacks like queen over here, double attacks, you know, on this g7 square. But I guess now was not the right time to play b3. They wanted queen to e2. So just a really subtle move. I guess just defending this pawn in a different way. Then maybe double stacking the rooks later on. I don't really know, to be honest. But nonetheless, we get b3. Gukesh plays a6, attacking this knight. It does look quite powerful, to be fair, so you sort of have to attack it, and then Ding obviously has to retreat the knight. The bishop says, "You're not going anywhere, buddy," and flies down to attack the knight. Ding defends the knight with the bishop, and Gukesh puts a pawn in the middle of the board to defend this bishop. So now this bishop is defended by a pawn, a knight, a queen. It's looking pretty happy days for the bishop. Ding plays d2. We get bishop e6 and knight d5. So this is a very powerful knight in the centre as well, defended by this pawn. All looks very good to me. Gukesh, oh wow, is he looking for a pawn trade here or something? So he lashes out with b5, best move in the position apparently. Oh, and Ding does take. So in this position, they wanted the bishop to go and take on d4. I guess it's just such a powerful bishop, isn't it? And then would you take back like this? Oh no, it doesn't like that. I guess take back with the knight. That looks better, yep, okay. See, in one position, they want you to take with a pawn. In the other position, this one, they want you to take with a knight. Like, it's just mind-boggling how chess works, isn't it? How such a minute difference can... Oof. Oh, I'm going to have a headache. Where were we? I don't really remember, to be honest. We got that, we got the knight in the middle, and yeah, we got... Wow, we got b5. That just looks like such a gangster move, doesn't it? And yeah, Ding makes an inaccuracy. So in this position, he's meant to defend this pawn with this rook. Okay, that's scary though, isn't it? But Ding goes, I don't want this headache, I'm just going to take the pawn. Gukesh takes back, opening up this A file for the rook. What is this? Oh, I see. So this, to me, initially looked like, hang on mate, you've just hung your knight completely. But Ding then has this move. Bishop takes their knight. Oh, and then what would happen if he just started taking pawns? What? That's a blunder? Because of... What? Because of... Oh, right, okay, yeah, because there's too many pieces looking at this bishop, so you can't take the pawn. God, it's a good thing I'm not a champion, isn't it? You have to play bishop to b2. What? Oh, right, no, this way. God, it's a real good thing I don't play in these games, isn't it? Wow, so yeah, takes, and then this gangster knight move by Ding, putting the knight on f4, saying, I know you can take me, but I can just take you right back. And they do trade this off, and then we get bishop b2, queen to b2, trading off the bishops. Rooks are coming out, attacking queens, bishops are flying back. The pawn eventually takes on g3, and then the h-pawn takes back. Gukesh pushes the pawn to b4. Ooh, that's an interesting move, isn't it? The engine likes it, but I saw Hikaru talking about this move, and a lot of other GMs on Twitter, so I just follow them all because they're all geniuses, and I just copy what they say. But in this position, although the eval bar says it's completely drawing, apparently this is a major mistake, and this is really difficult to draw because you have to play so many particular moves, and there's only one move in a lot of positions. So a lot of people didn't like this because you can, obviously it's mandatory, you've got to take en passant. But did he do that? Oh, Gukesh. Wow. What a cultured man. He understands the chess community. So there is a meme in chess where if there's en passant available, you have to do it. And Gukesh was obviously very well aware of this meme. Didn't really care if it lost him the game. He took en passant. Then Ding takes back with a rook. We get pawn to g6. Queen in the middle of the board. That's always good as well, because look how many squares the queen now controls. I'm not going to draw all the arrows, but you get the idea. Those arrows go in all directions. Horizontally, vertically, diagonally, you name it, the queen's got it covered. Wow, that's a really subtle move. I never would have found that, but I guess Gukesh does not want to trade off the queens. Wow, I really do wonder if in this position, Ding put his queen here to sort of get the queens off the board. Because if you don't, once the queens are off the board, mating ideas are so hard. You're never gonna, especially at this level, Super GM, you're never gonna hang mate. So when the queens are on the board, there's chances of winning. So it looks like Ding has sort of offered a draw basically by saying, look, let's just trade off our queens. But Gukesh says no. Right? Gukesh says no. I want to carry on this game. I'm here to play chess. That's what we've been doing this whole tournament. Let's play chess till the end. You've got to love it from Gukesh. The 18-year-old, he's fearless, genuinely, he's so fearless. Ding plays pawn to b4, and then, well, then they trade it off. But the difference in this position, right, is currently all material is equal, okay? Nobody's up a pawn, nobody's up a piece. So Gukesh will now accept the queen trade here because he gets to take the b pawn. And if you look, Gukesh is up +1. And that's because he's got 3 pawns here to Ding's 2 pawns here. And look, at this level, it doesn't matter, okay? It's still going to say a draw. But if there's any mistakes from Ding now, Gukesh is going to have the advantage because he's got more pieces on the board, you know? But theoretically, this is a draw. I think a couple of GMs actually played this against Stockfish. And if you don't know, Stockfish is like the eval bar, for example. Like, all these lines are calculated by this supercomputer called Stockfish, and a couple of GMs played this position against Stockfish, and they were able to draw it, despite the fact that Stockfish plays the best move in every position. So that should just demonstrate to you that, right, okay, this position is probably just going to peter out into a draw then. But the game goes on. We get rook to a8. They trade off the rooks, and so now it's just a rook and bishop endgame, but Gukesh is up a pawn. So just shuffling in all these pieces, trying to get them into the best possible positions. We give a check on b1. Ding moves the king to g2. We then get rook e1. Shuffling, pushing pawns. Yeah, this is... I couldn't explain any of these moves to you, to be honest. We get the bishop up here, looks like it's attacking the rook and the pawn. That moves over, bishop slides forward, king's coming forward, pushing pawns. Oh, I wonder what would happen if you just took here though. And then what's the best move? Oh, I guess you just have to take back with the bishop. I couldn't even see the bishop was looking at the pawn. That's how zonked out I am. Like, these moves just confuse me. So yeah, now this is just a complete draw. I mean, I know it's 1 against 2 pawns, but there's also a rook and a bishop, so you can just eventually trade. Even if, right, Ding was to sacrifice the bishop and take one of these pawns, and only have a rook against a rook and a bishop, and then they both had a pawn, it would still be a draw at the Super GM level. Like, there are ways in which it can be a draw with perfect play, which is just crazy to me, because, you know, Gukesh would be up a bishop, but it doesn't matter in a lot of positions, which is just ridiculous, isn't it? We get the king shuffling back, we're giving checks. See, to me, if I was watching this, it would just look like a complete and utter draw. We then get rook f4, and then, you know, king comes forward. Yep, after the king comes forward, Ding has a number of moves to just maintain the draw. So you can play rook a4, which I think just cuts off this whole file, so the king can't push forwards, which means it's really difficult to get these pawns forward. You'd have to, I don't know, maybe move the bishop or something. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It just doesn't look like you could ever push these pawns. And then you've also got this move bishop to g2. I think it's the same sort of idea, like if the pawns ever do come forwards, you have another piece to sort of attack them. And then there is also the move, what have we got, c6. I don't know why this is good, to be honest. Honestly, couldn't tell you. But in this position, Ding doesn't play any of those moves. And Ding offers a rook trade. Ding plays rook f2, which is a huge, huge blunder. Ding just lost any chance at drawing this game. And you got to remember, people, this is the final game of the tournament. This is round 14. And Ding has just thrown the game away. Rook f2. You got the players, they get low on time. They don't see the eval bar. You know, they don't know what's a draw, what is. It's such a tough position. Ding offers a rook trade. Gukesh takes it, and then plays this gangster move, bishop d5. Now, the reason this is so good is because it just completely blocks off this bishop. Completely blocks it off. And you saw the face of Gukesh. I watched this live. Luckily in the UK it's so easy to watch live because the event's being held in Singapore, so the time zone difference isn't too drastic. I know a lot of people in America have been really struggling because I think they have to get up at like 4 AM, 3 AM to watch this game. But you just saw Gukesh's face live as soon as Ding played rook f2. He knew he'd won. He knew that dream he's had since he was an 8-year-old boy is going to come true. And oh, wow. It was such a bittersweet moment. But Gukesh, he calculated it instantly. And after multiple sips of water, after sitting there shaking, you know, making sure, am I calculating this right? Have I missed something? He plays it. And he plays this move, bishop d5, cutting off the bishop. Ding has to take. Gukesh takes back. Ding tries to push his king, but he's not in time because of the only move that maintains the advantage in this position. King e5. Ding, he can't push his pawn. He has to go back now. And if he does, f4 is coming. And after takes, there is nothing you can do. Because Gukesh is going to make a queen, and you only have a king. So Gukesh saw this tactic instantly. He saw this move e5, and in this position, Ding Liren from China resigns the game, and we have a new classical world chess champion. And I think it's so fitting that in chess, if you don't know, after you play a game, you rearrange the pieces back on the board. It's just like a tradition. You just put the pieces back where they're meant to be. But you leave the kings in the middle of the board. And I just think it's so poetic that Gukesh won this game with a king move into the middle of the board. It was so poetic. And honestly, seeing his reaction after, you could see how much this meant to him. And it was just, wow, what a way to pull on your heartstrings. Cheers, Gukesh. Honestly, almost in floods of tears in the morning. What a way to start the day. But wow, you feel bad for Ding. But also it was like an almost passing of the torch sort of moment. You know, Ding's already won this World Chess Championship. He's been there, he's done that. Gukesh is 18 years of age. His story to even get to this tournament is incredible. I'm not going to go into depth, but he wasn't even meant to be at the candidates. You know, it's crazy. It's honestly crazy. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. So you just feel so good for Gukesh. And he doesn't have to defend it until 2 years' time, I think. I don't think there's a tournament next year. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think there is. And then there is obviously also the question of Magnus Carlsen. You know, world number one. He didn't play this tournament. Would it have been a different result if he did? You know, you just don't know. There's so many storylines coming out of this. And Gukesh even said in an interview after a press conference, this is going to keep him motivated. You know, the fact that the world number one didn't play in this tournament, Gukesh still feels like he's got something to prove. And, you know, to say that 2 hours after becoming the world chess champion, like, his mindset is crazy. You know, he doesn't even care that he won. You know, he's already thinking about Magnus. It's insane. The storylines coming out of this are going to be amazing. I'm interested to see where the narrative goes in a couple of weeks. You know, when all the emotions sort of settled, what's the general consensus going to be? You know, is Gukesh world number one now? Is he the best player in the world? I don't know. But, wow. So this was something new on the channel. You know, we reviewed a game. We might, you know, do something similar if there are big games coming up, but we'll see. If you did make it this far in the video, thank you very much. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.